I have received a number of calls and I see a lot of communications across the internet and to me directly. Please do not promote people to move because of the earthquake in or around the world. It's my responsibility to do as I see, because those of you who call me because you talk about it, it'll happen, it shows you have not even understood the work of the physicality of the plasma of the earth, and you stand responsible for the souls of those who you will cause the death of. Those of you who don't understand and go and say you are talking about it and it's happening, it means you haven't even understood. Volcanic eruptions, earthquake has happened for millions of years, the way this planet works, but we see a huge one on a scientific basis to happen, to take place, and it's our job to do, to save lives. And those of you who write to us that I'm going to go public, that you're a fake and the rest because you don't stop promoting, it means any death caused because of any of the volcanic eruptions and the earthquakes which is pending, you are responsible for the soul of the people you have murdered. So we finish with this discussion and we carry on with the way it should be and it has to be done. It's the responsibility of us as scientists, which understand the work of the, not only the planet, but structure of the pressure on this planet. One, because of the motion of the magma underneath. Secondly, because of the change of the season and the pressure on the southern hemisphere at this time. And thirdly, because of the approach of the, what we call the second star, which is a twin star of the Earth, which creates certain pressures of its own, which increases the pressure at this time on the southern hemisphere. And fourthly, because of the position of our solar system with its twin sister in the funnel of the wings of the galaxy, there is a possibility, not tomorrow, next week, not maybe the next few months, but in the next couple of months or next year or so, the pressures will crack or separate the thin layer of the continent of South America away at the point of Panama and floating on the magma. This is the reality. So please move from California, from west coast of United States continent. My warning cannot be any stronger. We have seen it, now the pattern is getting stronger, and there is a huge possibility of, in a coming time, of movement of the continental plate, because everything is ready for it. And once that goes, and the pressure from on the southern hemisphere due to upcoming, after 21st of February till around 20th, 18th of April is the switch time. If we see the approach of the second sun, which will put pressure on the southern hemisphere, is like a piece of metal. You keep on twisting it till at its weakest point is separate. We are in that position. Understand the physiology of it. The earth pressure on the southern hemisphere pushes now on the southern continent, which sits on the American continent. The magma is working anti-clockwise, so it's pulling it towards the African and Southern European section. That's why we said you will see earthquake in Southern Europe and in Northern Africa. We've seen it in Gibraltar, we've seen it in Argentina. It's following the same pattern. It's a combined forces which is creating this. Wishes does not change the reality of the work of the nature. You stand in front of the fire in the bush and just blow at it and wish that it will go away. You get burned in it if the blow is in your direction. So please move. Move in the orderly manner out of the west of American continent. Central continent will get pressurized through the same, and consequently the pressure will go into the north, and consequently it will come down in a lot of places. It just happened to be our time. The way it happened with the time of dinosaurs when the meteorite came, when the second star approached the Earth and pushed all the meteorite towards the center. Now we are in the same position. And in a way, why American continent is in that position, look and see the structure. Look and then you understand why. There is a weak point, it's come to the point of, it's like you're chewing gum when you pull it, and then at the weak point, it just snaps. The weak point between the two continents which can take the pressure is as Panama Point. And this is what we see it, and this is what we have, and we have discussed to be. The position is relevant, and the backlash of these things will show itself in Philippines and other parts of the world in what we call the East Asia. How far and how fast it'll go, we don't know. The two things which has happened in past 20 hours, 24 hours, that's 2 days, 3 days. We have seen what is being the eruption or the beginning of the earthquake, which is opening up to a volcanic area within the California. And these, whenever happen, some of them have been dormant for 15,000 years. When this happens, always has followed with a heavy shift of the continental plates. And this is time when the southern continent splits, the shift will come, the powers will be much more powerful. Whenever Earth, what we call the volcanic eruptions, has happened in this part, according to the scientific data, within days and weeks, we have seen huge earthquakes in this level of the ocean level. And this has happened in past 24 hours. This is a clear warning. Go on the internet and look at the double volcanic earthquakes and the one before in the same area. Whenever it has happened at this level, the continent has started moving. It's where the magma can open up to release the pressure that the place can move. It's like a pressure cooker. Now it's opening up. So please assess yourself and consider yourself in which part of the world you are in danger or can be possibility of the danger. As you know, as I've said in the talk of Tuesday, and I especially mentioned it today, your government, His Excellency President Obama, for American nation, has put in order, after our talk in the 2nd of February, executive order for the earthquake committee or group that will start looking at the earthquakes. This committee has to start acting. You don't have much time. This is very clear warning. This is the last time we make such a warning. It's the responsibility of governments to look after the people. It is the responsibility of the Keshe Foundation members to be ready in the time of accident. We have seen what we were waiting for to take place, and it has taken place. Now the clock is ticking. Those of us who accuse us of scaring, you have to live with yourself. Why did I do this? When the warning came and I did not let people see, I changed the mind of one person to move because I thought I know. In fact, you are responsible for those who you change their mind because of your ignorance, and then you're responsible for their souls. I stand clear with my soul and what I know and what I'm here for. My responsibility as a scientist, as who I am, is to protect the children of the man. And we see problem. We are very clear about it. We don't care what people say just because they ate from our cup and they poisoned their own cup with it. My warning goes very clearly. Please start moving out of the west coast of United States, Chile, North Canada. We see waves up to 200 to 300 meters high in the long distance ships. I cannot be any clearer, and after today I go silent with it because I finished in and I explained scientifically to you what is the reason. The movement, you might call it a disaster, you might call it volcanic eruption, you might call it whatever, is imminent. Next few days, next few weeks, next few months. all depends on the pressures, and if all the pressures coincidentally come together, it'll be a huge catastrophe. We are safe in the city of Dubai. I am safe. I should not care about whatever happened to the humanity and the rest of it, but I do care. It's my responsibility. It's under my time, my watch. So I'm very clear, and it's the last warning we give you. I hope in the next sessions you still be with us, and in the sessions to come. And if you are not, and if anything happens, the Keshe Foundation is there to support you. The disaster of the movement of the two continents is imminent. But make sure you understand the physiology of it. Keep your eyes on it, because when it comes very, very rapidly. Because now the continental pressure on the southern core will push the American continent once it goes loose down, and all the volcanoes will pop like nothing. You can see the executive order on the 2nd of December when we made the original warning. The warning is absolutely in a critical point. And we've seen other scientists after our announcements are coming up with more proof of different places that can happen. And even the White House is not safe. We have seen increase in volcanic activities on the coastline of the west of the United States continent, and on the other end, which takes the pressure. We predict earthquakes in Tehran on Damavand zone as well, because it's a connection underneath which pushes it up. And it's due to, with this pressure is so high that Damavand can go, and we see the earthquakes in Tehran too, simultaneous or around the same time, depends what the pressure is. You got to understand, if the southern continent, American continent, goes down by another 5 centimeters, if it drops in the motion, it doesn't drop because it's free. It tries to find its own balance. Up to now, the northern continent and the Pangaea has kept it floating. It's like you're on a what do you call it, jet ski, and with a rope to a man who's skiing. That rope has been the continental position in Panama. And now, with that opening up, is on its own. Now he has to find its own balance. It's like when you drop a ball in the water in the pool, it goes up and down to find its balance. If its weight releases pressure more than it is on the continental magma, then we see the popping up like nothing. All the volcanic layers will pop up like popcorn, because it's the law of physics. When you drop something on a liquid, it has to create its buoyancy where it's going to stand, and it creates waves. And those waves will pop a lot of volcanoes. That's why we see a lot of volcanic activities at the moment. Because at the point of Panama, the continent is made loose. The Chilean earthquake we saw a few months ago, when we announced it, the huge one, has shown the release of it. It was just like in pin holding it. Now, the continent becomes free. It has to find, over the next decade, its balance, its buoyancy. And as it goes up and down in the next 20 years to find, will start popping. When it goes lower, it pops all the volcanic situations which have not worked for years. This is how it works. People, when this happens, you have two choices. If the continental plate is within the water, what happened in Fukushima, we see a huge tsunami hitting. If we see another one like what happened in Jakarta in 2005, we see the same. There is a possibility that the earthquake and volcanic eruptions and movement of this continents comes together because one triggers the other, then we do not know. We put the estimate in the region of anything up to 200 to 300 million. I see every day, I monitor the movement on a daily basis. And this is I don't predict anymore. I tell you what is going to happen. It's not a prediction anymore. We have finished with prediction. The movement will happen. It depends if the pressure from our twin star adds its force on the southern continent of America, then we'll have a deeper pressure. We add another 10 or 15 centimeter of depression into the magma, and Earth and this planet is a contained matter for its plasma. Well, you've done the physics. When you approach something somewhere, it has to come up in the liquid somewhere else. And the liquid magma will come through the volcanic eruptions. We even see now in past 48 hours, with a movement, Etna might go up to. Very possibility, high possibility. We are on the verge of a huge movement of continental plates. It happened to be our time. If we didn't have internet, if we didn't have the community, we still would have had it. If we all sit and pray on the ground and move all the fields to us and somewhere in the space, if we were so good, why don't we fly out if you're so good? So this is going to happen. This is the eventuality of the separation of the continent. Let me show you what it is. This is what's going to happen in the continent. The pressure comes, and at the moment we are sitting on the magma. The continent has been narrowed, if I can show it. So we are in this point. Now the pressure on the magma, all is going to do like this, and then separation. The pressure is coming from the continental side, on the southern continent. It does not show, the beginning of it where I announced in the early, before autumn, the pressure was on the northern hemisphere, which carries most of the Pangaea. The continent solid state could take it. But now we change of season, we are on the southern continent. This cannot take, and literally what we see is, for example, this is the pin where what we call the Panama Point, and now it's getting darkness, and now the pressure, and if the continental and the universal pressure on the second sun comes, it just snaps. What it does, the other end pushes down. With pushing down, pushes the magmas right across, and this is what we see, because the pressure is pushing new magmas to come out. So this side, the pressure is too high. It scientifically can be defined. We have no say in it. It's part of the process of our development of this planet, and this planet is a living thing, and it moves the way we do. And so we have this problem. It's our responsibility to protect, and we work on it, we explain it, and if you go on it, the volcanic section of the continental American continent is becoming active, because the pressure is coming at the end of the Southern America, continental south, so it's pushing the rest up. Is very much, as I always explain, it's like a ball. You squeeze it, it has to show something somewhere. It comes out of somewhere else. It's a mass volume. The volume of it is fixed. You pressurize it, it has to show, it has to move. No way sitting and praying. Please sit down and pray. See if you can take the pressure, and then you will see how many lives you have to answer to. It's our responsibility. We take it seriously, and I again advise Your Excellency President Obama, you're listening to this program, as we know, we welcome you as usual. Please make provisions for your nation. My call goes again to the state of Japan. The nation of Japan, with the backlash of the, what they call tsunami, will be wiped out. The biggest concern is the nuclear reactors, which is totally separate. In this teaching today, we try to teach you how to decontaminate radioactive, as we did it on Tuesday. And after today, we'll try not to speak about it, because I hope we're still together next time. And I hope we'll be together for a long time. But it's our job to protect. And it's our job to explain. It's you who have to make the decision. But strange enough, if this movement happens, as I said, a lot of northwestern countries in Europe, like Belgium, Holland, especially England, will see the flooding we've seen a few years ago, decades ago. Because there is a problem in that Strait of England. When the pressure comes on two sides, the English channels push the pressure back on the Thames River and into Holland. All the dikes will pop up. Yes, it will be the same repetition. Even with the wall in the Thames will not be able to hold the rise.